Good afternoon. Welcome back to Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. We've been coming to you live from Georgetown University's McDonough School of Business at the DC Blockchain Summit. And to help wrap up the end of the first day, we have Grainne McNamara. She's the principal of digital over at PwC. Thank you very much, Grainne, for joining us here live at
Pleasure,
GU.
Jill.
So give us a brief overview of what's happening at the summit today.
Sure, it's really interesting actually, Jill, because what's happening here is that you have, of course, the intersection of the technical community, also with the business community, which obviously I'm representing to some degree, and also then the regulatory or policy-making community, and I think that's where really great things happen, right? So you have, I think, a maturation of this technology which is being discussed in terms of the use cases and the applications, and then you have government sort of responding to where policy is going and what some of the regulatory implications are, and that's very exciting.
Well, you've been working on blockchain projects in a number of different industries. Where are you seeing the real opportunity for this kind of technology?
It's interesting because it's been discussed here today, actually. I think there was a focus, obviously, on financial services, and that definitely makes sense, and there's some really great use cases there. But what we're working on a lot is supply chain, so tracking and tracing of physical assets and connecting them to digital platforms and really improving the overall working capital efficiency and really just making the supply chain much more transparent and authentic, whether it's food products, whether it's large physical inventories that companies have. This is where we're seeing a lot of traction right now.
Do you think that there's a slowdown in terms of mass adoption for blockchain technology?
That's a really great question too, and that's been very much the subject of the conversation here. In other words, it's been more of a what do we need to do to kind of get this thing out to scale, and I think some of it is concerns about the regulatory implications, some of it is about fragmentation perhaps of some of the offerings. I think corporate clients are worried about picking a technology that won't be the winner, so to speak, and so we need to see more of the large technology companies helping, I think, with that. I think the other thing is just funding the transformation, right? So we're seeing new marketplaces being developed, and the question is, do we get there through consortia? Like, how do we get from where we are today into the new world? So interoperability with the old world is going to be very important.
Well, what are some of the implications for PwC and for the audit business more broadly?
Yeah, so the PwC team is really working on exactly that, which is what does this mean for auditors who actually audit internal systems of companies that are the systems of record? Because of course what's happening here is that we're actually seeing companies start to use ecosystems that are shared, so across their own enterprise, but then out into the interconnected world that they're in. So we're looking at the, what does that really do in terms of what role could the auditor play? How could we make our process more efficient? Could we look at all of the data, for example? And what does it mean for also cybersecurity, third-party risk management at these companies as well? So we're developing our approach and our position on all of those matters.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you for joining me throughout the day. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter.